All right, so in this section, we're going to take the integration further, wherein we're going to integrate our Cisco Unified Communication Manager with Cisco Unity Connection voicemail server using the SIP protocol. The last section, we used STCP to integrate the two. Now we're going to use the SIP protocol to integrate these two servers. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the steps that are needed. So here I have listed out the minimum step that you need to perform on the CUCM side, and then followed by the CUC voicemail side. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the configuration. Right here is my Cisco Unified CM console, and here is my Cisco Unity connection server. So first of all, as discussed here, we need to create a SIP trunk and then create a route pattern and point this route pattern to the SIP trunk that we're going to create. And once this route pattern is mapped to the newly created SIP trunk, then we're going to go ahead and create the remaining two steps, which is creating the voicemail pilot and the voicemail profile. So the steps are lesser and simpler. Okay. All right. So let's start with creating a SIP trunk. Let's go ahead and go to the device and trunk. And over here, we need to create a simple SIP trunk. Okay, so add new. There are existing SIP trunks in the system. I'm going to leave it everything as is and choose SIP trunk here. And let the device protocol be as is to be SIP and do next. Okay, now let's go ahead and name this SIP trunk, maybe something which makes sense, like voicemail, uh, you know, voicemail trunk, right? So let's elaborate it further, voicemail trunk too. All right, voicemail trunk is just fine. The device full default, right? Let everything be as is. The location, right? Hub none. Uh, let it everything be as is, run on all active unified CM class CM nodes. This is important point to be checked here. And then go ahead and keep going down until you have got SIP trunk security profile. Select non-secure SIP trunk profile, and then the SIP profile. So I'm going to use the standard SIP profile for now, but we're going to come down and talk about it later. For now, just let's use standard SIP profile here. Okay, so, and right here, just above the profiles that we selected, let's go ahead and add the voicemail server IP address, which is 10.10.20.18. So I'm going to copy it from here and say the destination is going to be this. Right, let's leave it as is and no changes. Go ahead and save it. It says that the configuration will not take effect until you reset it. So yes, like any SIP trunk, we're going to reset it for it to become active. All right, so it's added successful, but let's go ahead and give it a reset here. Once we reset the SIP trunk, right, the communication would start to flow as long as we have got the IP to IP connectivity between the voicemail server and this call manager server. So reset and close. Okay, perfect. So we have created this VM trunk named SIP trunk. I'm gonna go back to find out the list of the devices under the trunk page. Now, where is our SIP trunk? This guy here. And this trunk is added, but you would notice that a lot of them has got time in full service, 0 day, 5 hours, 4 minutes, but this one does not have any status right here. But it says one thing, unknown, option ping not enabled. That's where I wanted to talk about the SIP profile, okay, that we added under the SIP trunk. So let's enable the option ping under the SIP profile so we could see the status of the SIP trunk as well. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the default one what we created. We cannot basically make changes here. I mean, well, we could do that, but then it's best to leave it as is and just do a copy here. Okay. Uh, I mean, it's a default one, and yes, and you cannot just make any changes here. So if you want to make any adjustments to the configs, you need to do a copy and then go ahead and so we'd say VM zip profile. Though we're not gonna do much, just for our basically this option is something we need to enable under SIP option ping. Enable options ping to monitor destination status for trunks with service type none default. This is it. Let's save it. I'm gonna leave everything as is and assign this SIP profile to the newly created trunk for voicemail. And that way it's gonna uh, keep on pinging the voicemail server and finding out what's going on with this. If it does have the, uh, you know, connectivity or not. So it's going to show us the time in full service or whatever it's been active since. So this is our voicemail uh, that we created, the voicemail trunk, and here is the SIP profile option under extreme bottom after you have got the IP address of the voicemail server. So this guy here, I've just chosen VM SIP profile that we created. Let's click save, and as recommended, we're going to go ahead and reset the trunk. Okay, so to get it activated, the trunk would take a bit of time to be back after the application of the SIP profile with option ping enabled. So I'm going to go back to our page and let's see. It hasn't brought the status as of now. Let's go ahead and do the configs on the voicemail side of it, and then we could check the status down here. Okay. For now, it hasn't brought it back, but we'll come back and see the status as well. All right. So we have created the trunk. The SIP trunk is done. Now let's go ahead and create a route pattern here. Okay. So go to the call routing option. Simply go to route hunt and create a route pattern. Let's do an add new here and give it an extension, a directory number. So this time I'm gonna try 8500. Okay. And I would say voicemail route pattern. And then let's select the SIP trunk that we created, which is this VM trunk. Okay. Which is pointing basically to the voicemail. Is it the off-net call? No, it is an on-net call. It's not an off-net call. So provide outside dial tone. No, urgent priority is checked. Okay, so rest, let's leave it as is and say okay. And our route pattern is created and it's added, it's pointed to the SIP trunk that we created towards the voicemail. Okay, the call classification, since it's going to be from call manager to voicemail, so it's internal, it's not going outside. So we have unchecked this voice provide outside dial tone, and we have checked this urgent priority for the call to go quick. Okay, so two things done, SIP profile and route pattern. These are the two steps that we're done with. Now let's go ahead and create the voicemail pilot and voicemail profile. Okay, so again, let's go to the advanced feature, voicemail. Let's create voicemail pilot here. So same thing as SECP. Oh, so there is one 8500 voicemail pilot already created here. So I'll have to make the changes to the route pattern because 8500 uh, does exist. Okay, so I cannot have the same extension. So let me have a separate extension for the pattern that we created for voicemail. I'm gonna say it, okay, no problem. 8500 is taken, don't worry. Let's make it 8900, okay? And now let's create 8900 as our voicemail pilot number. Voicemail port, voicemail pilot, add new, and this time we're gonna name our voicemail pilot uh, to be VM uh, pilot or SIP. Just in the description to distinguish it with the SCCP one we used for in the previous lecture with which had 9500 as a VM pilot number. Now we're gonna go ahead and assign this to the voicemail pilot here, profile here, I'm sorry. So let's go ahead and basically create the voicemail testing profile. We're gonna copy it, okay, and just add. We can add new as well, or we could just do copy. So not a problem. I'm gonna say in the end SIP, and let's use 8900 and do a save here. So we're done with all the steps on the call manager side. So we created the zip trunk, then we created a route pattern and mapped the zip trunk to that route pattern. We also created the voicemail pilot and voicemail profile. Now, what we got to do is assign this voicemail profile on the phones they are going to use this voicemail profile. So I'm going to go to the device and then phone. Let's go to the agent 001. And this time I'm going to assign agent 001 the SIP profile and let agent 002 be using the SCCP so we could just see the difference. Okay, so I'm on the line configuration level where you have got the option to make the changes for the voicemail profile. So I'm going to use VM testing profile SIP. Click on save and do the apply config here. All right, this is done. Apply configuration has been done. Now the call manager side is done, okay? We're not gonna make some test call for now. Let's go ahead and complete the steps on the CUC side, the voicemail side as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and log into Cisco Unity Connection. All right, we already logged in. So let's go down and under the telephony integration, the second last option, click on the phone system. And we're gonna create a new phone system. Add new, let's say VM phone system, and let's say in the end SIP as well. Okay. Now this is going to be different than your SCCP integration. Here as well, let's go ahead and check these options. Okay. And what else? Yeah, let's go ahead and click on save here. We are done with this. Now it says that the phone system cannot take calls until the port group is set. Use the related link to add a port group. So let's refer our sheet as well. It's talking the same, right? So let's go ahead and click on add port group. Just like HTTP would have it, uh, port group as well here. So we're gonna say, but we would not have any let's use SIP here, okay? That's important here. Uh, if we had the SCCP option, we would have got the device prefix name and all, just like we had in SCCP. But we want to do it SIP, right? So we're gonna choose SIP, and now we're gonna have different options down here. Okay, so authenticate with SIP server. No, we don't want to do that. We're gonna just simply put in the IP address of our call manager server, which is 10.10.20.1. Here you go, under the IP address IPv4. Okay, so this is added. Now you would see that this port system has got our uh, call manager added as well, and that can be checked under the servers from edit option here. And if you see the change advertising option gives you what all codecs you want to be advertised with this one. So you could do that as well, but let's go back to the port group. And this is where you could do it for SCCP as well. Okay, so if you take a look at the servers, we have it added, what we added in just our previous step. And if you take a look at the advanced stuff here, it's there, the DTMF and many other stuff. The codec advertising, what we were talking about. All right, so the port system, the port group is added. Okay, this is what we created. Now, if we get into the port system, it says related link is going to be at ports. All right, so phone system is going to be SIP, port group is going to be this, and this is our voicemail server. Number of ports, let's see, 2, and hit on save. Oh, we ticked twice, so it did not really take it. Voicemail phone system SIP 1, and let's go ahead and click on the related link and say 2. Let's leave everything as is. Click on save. All right, so it says the port limit has reached with the maximum allowed configuration for its hardware not authorized. No worries. I'm going to use some of the voicemail port that I'm sure that these all are testing. So I'm going to just remove a few of them, just 3. And then we'll have some space for our voicemail ports to be created. Let's go to the port group now. Try it one more time. All right, so add ports and 2 ports we want to create. So let's click on save here. Created 2 ports. Okay. And these are the 2 ports that we have. Okay. All right, pretty much it. We have got our voicemail side as well done. So we have got 2 SIP ports and then 2 SCCP ports created. So coming back to the Excel sheet, the steps are done. This is the time that we should go ahead and make some test calls with our end users. So let me go ahead and launch them. So I mean, just to refresh after the config changes that we made on their line level, I'm gonna sign out both the users and sign them back in. Okay, so sign in. Right, so okay. John Doe and Jane Doe. Right. That's 6001 and it is Jane Doe. And that's where our voicemail profile is basically selected with SIP. So we got to go to the Jabber user Jane Doe. This is John Doe, Jane Doe. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead to the voicemail tab here and do call voicemail. So it's calling 8900. Wonderful. Now we see the counter moving as well. So the call is connected to our Cisco Unity connection server. All right. So now let me go ahead and show you the voicemail call for John Doe, which is with SCCP. So you see that it's going to go with a different port, voicemail test port. And if you see the current call with Jane, it's going with the port number 8900, route pattern 8900. So it's two different call, going one with SCCP and one with SIP. So I mean, generally you would not see such steps, such configuration where you have got SCCP and SIP both being deployed for integration between the call manager and voicemail. But this is just a lab test. I wanted you to take a look at both the kind of integration. All right, so with this, we are done with our voicemail integration. Thanks for watching.